gorgeous green.
Welcome to the chinoiserie room. I always have wanted to have chinoiserie. I love it. And I had been to England and I went to Clayton House, and that's where they have that iconic chinoiserie room. And I ended up taking the door surrounds of that house and making it into this fireplace surround. Those were in white plaster and everything, but this is carved in wood by a man in England. And so chinoiserie first, Clayton House next, and then all my blue and white.
You almost buy this house so you could have these wonderful folly moments, the excuses to do a whole nother kind of, almost a fantasy.
To be very honest with you, when I bought the house, I said, I'm going to paint it white and do nothing for 5 years. Of course, that idea lasted exactly 2 seconds.
Yes.
In each room, I found out, but you only reflect on this later, that there was one thing that sparked the idea. In this case, the chinoiserie commodes.
Only you would have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the most gorgeous flower arrangements.
Trader Joe's. I am now the queen of Trader Joe's.
I am the queen of Trader Joe's, and they do really have the best flowers.
They
but
have fantastic
mine don't
flowers.
look this incredible. What did you do?
It's like mixing color. I'm a colorist. I love color. Come on in. This is the bird room. And the whole genesis of this room started with this painting, which is 17th century by Paul de Vos. I saw it. It has a long history and story. I found it in Bonn, in France, in the back of an antique store when I was on a bicycling trip, tasting wine. And I had seen another version of it at one of Catherine the Great's palaces when I had been on a trip to Russia. So I said, I've got to have it.
So you put it back on your bicycle. I can see you like biking with the back, with it on like one of those little carrier things with the back.
Right, and so I ended up shipping it, and I said, oh, I'm going to create. And so then from there, I already had that bird from Connecticut, and then I'd already been collecting Scott Kelly, that artist, because I love his work. But these are the original chairs you've seen in so many pictures and copied by every decorator in the world, the original Cinnamon chairs, and they're quite iconic.
And here's your ingenious idea about
my dog blankets.
Your dog blankets, because I want people to see this, how it's not an exact match, but it's very, very close, and you just take this off so they can jump on, and then you can just wash it.
And then I dry clean it or wash it.
And not worry about dogs getting up on the...
I mean, when you have 8 dogs, you have to think like that.
Exactly. I know how you are not a one room, one function kind of, that's not the way you live. For example, this is technically a dining room, but it's not just a dining room. It's obviously a library, study, inspiration room.
I'm a book person. I need to have books around me, and I think nothing's better to dine in than a library. And so this actually is a library. It is my workspace, and it is my dining room.
I love that, and hence you must use this room all the time.
That chandelier, I had put it into storage, and then finally I said, this is going to be it. It's going to be brown, white with red accents. So
again, a lighting fixture informed the whole rest of the template for this room. I love the way that you upholster this with your monogram.
Well, it's actually not my monogram. You just say Carolyne.
Okay, but I was just seeing the
But I had it made. It's Chisholm House, because that's the name of the house.
Right.
Charleston. So you can have it be whatever.
It's triple C.
It's a triple C. You got it. As I said, everything is inspired by something. I happened to find these paintings at a sale at Christie's. They were not framed, and I thought, I'd love to build a whole room around them, like it's paneling the room. I think they were originally theater flats. And this is our media room. I guess you could say our media is 18th century set paintings, but the other thing is, I hate big black TVs. I thought about, there's no place to hide it. You couldn't go into the walls because they're heavy, heavy plaster. So I thought, what if we had, I think one of those catalogs have easels where you can set your television, something like Restoration. I said, let's build an easel, and we'll put that, and Simon actually figured out the engineering for this, and then I had the the faux painter that did the floors, I had him do something that fit in the spirit of this. And voila, that is my TV. Simon figured out how to make it flip, and so it goes this, so we can have a big TV, sit here and, you know, binge watch something, and yet I don't have to look at it all the time.
This piece is incredible.
Well, this was the impetus for this room, because I loved this piece of furniture, and I bought it at Christie's. It's 18th century Italian. I loved the weird colors, and this became the lavender room, all based on this piece of furniture. I've always loved this little painting that I had sitting in my studio because I bought it from a dealer in Paris, and so of course red jacket, red room. And then I have always loved this fabric. You know, it's the Tree of Life from Bracanier. The other thing is because Givenchy had a room in his chateau in the country that was done in the Bracanier fabric, and I've always lusted after it. And this was another 18th century bed, and Simon says, everyone's going to hate our guest bedrooms because all the beds are so small. I said, well, they've got to be in love. What can I tell you? This is a traditional 18th century bed. So that allowed me to do my big red taffeta as the accent here, and then look at Mr. Chisholm. Isn't he adorable? Still, we haven't done the draperies here yet, but I'll get there someday.
Wait a minute, I've never met a coral that I have not fallen in love with. Look at these.
Well, you know, the earlier ones and the ones in the midi room, those are real. But I found these at Pottery Barn.
Oh, come on.
They're made out of resin. And then these were from a Christmas season, and I put the two...
Also from Pottery Barn?
Yes!
There it is. And then you put them together.
I put them together because I liked the idea of the corally red against this black and white. And it kind of continued the coral thing. But these, unlike the others, these are fake.
You're incredible.
Well, it's fun. I love doing things like that.